This is Luca Majno. We're back with Frank Gregory Ford. This is Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon. And this is where we bring you complete, backstage, up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. We want to thank you very much for watching and being faithful followers. How you doing tonight, Greg?
Oh, hey, fine form as always. The weather's finally cooled off here in California, and it is absolutely beautiful right now.
That's not the case here. It was 97 degrees when the sun was going down today. Very, totally abnormal as far as heat goes. And we haven't had a rainfall in about a week, and we don't see one coming. There might be a thunderstorm because there started to be electric storms out there tonight. I want to do two things on Snapshot today. I want to do a general look at Israel and our Congress, and I also want to talk about our 3%er that's down in Texas that just finished a round helping the disaster relief, as it were, in Beaumont and the Houston area. But first, I'd like to shoot with Israel. Shoot with Israel, get it? From Redacted Tonight. There's something I wanted to share with you. And this is a quote, and I'm reading it. Even though we're looking at it, I'm reading it anyway because Greg can't see this. Here are the senators that just approved the $700 billion war budget, even larger than the $668 billion that Trump asked for. Remember, each billion we spend fueling death and destruction and poverty around the globe is authorized in our name. And we wonder why they hate us. For those interested, Israel saw a $558 million increase over the president's budget request. I thought Congress was gridlocked, but they always seem to come together when Israel's involved. So you might want to put the video on pause, as we love to say, and take a look at the names. Also, I found it interesting. In Israel, you see different names, like street names. One here is called Balfour, and another street name is called Rothschild Boulevard, right? And they love to give credence to the superpower, if we can call it that. And my friend Matthew Short, he's got a horrific story. I just did a 1-hour video with him today, speaking of his experience. And you can tell when people tell the truth. You can just tell the way they handle themselves, the way they talk. He is really shell-shocked from what he saw. Two black children that were looking for their mother because the raging waters came through their house and probably flushed her away. This is something I'm showing here from don'tcomply.com, and it's a quote from Samuel Adams. If you love wealth greater than liberty, the tranquility of servitude greater than the animating contest for freedom, go home from us in peace. We seek not your counsel nor your arms. Crouch down and lick the hand that feeds you. May your chains set light upon you, and may posterity forget that you were once our countrymen. Samuel Adams. And what I'm doing is I'm showing pictures of the barge that Matthew, who's the one of the militia down there, he was saying don't go on the prison barges and don't go in the FEMA camps because they are prison centers. And for those who don't believe in the conspiracy theory of the FEMA camps and the Walmart parking lots and the different stores, he's seen it firsthand. So we want to send kudos to him and to all the 3%ers that work down there helping the flood victims. And one more thing before I give you the floor, Greg, there's a beautiful painting of a woman playing the harp, okay? And the meme says, isn't it weird how a hurricane turned into a Category 5 and then a massive earthquake happened twice? Just saying, but I'm not trying to harp on it, right? Thought that was really cute. I had to share that. And I'm going to finish this snapshot with Henry David Thoreau, who's one of my favorite writers, who, by the way, built himself a log cabin and stayed by Walden Pond in Cambridge outside of Boston because he was not going to pay his taxes and he was furious at what government was doing. And he says, a beautiful quote that I love, he says, "For every 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil, there's only one who's striking at the root." And this is what our show is trying to do, Greg. And this is why we're so proud and thankful and blessed to have you on the show, because this is this is what truth is all about.
No, thank you, Luca. And I'd like to say that, yes, when I was going to school in Boston, on a sunny afternoon, there was nothing better than to go for a swim in Walden's Pond. Okay. And that was one of the finest books I've ever read, and I recommend it for everybody listening, On Walden Ponds. Okay. Henry David Thoreau. Okay, there it is.
Civil Disobedience was good too.
Absolutely. You know, and the simple life of understanding what you really need is brought forth in that book. So I've got a picture of me somewhere, somehow, a few years younger when I was attending school in Boston, holding one of the cairn rocks. There was a cairn made for Henry David at the pond there.
Okay. Well, before we change the subject, let me see if I can get this right off the top of my head. What's his name? Waldo Emerson goes to see.
Bro.
He goes to see Henry David Thoreau in prison. And he comes up and he's holding on to the bars of the prison, and he looks at Henry and he says, "Henry, what are you doing in there?" And Henry comes up to him and shakes the bars and looks at him and says, "No.
What are you doing out
What
there?
are you doing out there?" Huh?
Well, they don't make folks like that anymore, do they? Absolutely not.
I think I'm looking at one of them. And it's good to have you on the show, Greg.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Luca. Now I've got a question. You said just a few minutes ago that we have voted to give Israel how much more over the normal budget? $550 million over their normal budget. And why are we doing this? Israel has been in the black on their operating budget for many, many years. They don't need the money. All right.
Okay. The quote was, they approved $700 billion for the war budget, which is even larger than the $668 billion that Trump asked for. But the $558 million is the increase that Israel saw over the president's request. Right.
Okay. Yeah. And so what does that tell you? We've got people that are being swept out of their houses by a directed hurricane. Okay. And we've got more on the way. Now, if you remember, there was a time when America used to take care of everybody, including its own citizens. Does that sound like we're taking care of our own people?
Right.
All right. And as Susan Lindauer said, okay, she was able, the CIA agent who was thrown into prison for warning people of the attack on 9/11. Okay. Well, funny thing is, she's finding out that the day before, Donald Rumsfeld says, and he thought it was pretty funny, by the way, that $3.2 trillion went missing. Okay.
Right.
What is that? About 25-30% of our national budget went missing. They couldn't find it.
The day before 9/11, right?
Okay. Right. The day before. Yes, by the way, the big three, the unholy triumvirate, yes, they were responsible for stealing that money, and stealing it they did. Okay. And I need to point out that I just have a recent message from her about how none of the money that I found disappearing into the Cyprus Express in the green zone of Iraq, as confirmed by the general I was working with, none of that was the same money. We're talking, how much money does, and slush funds is our government running out there? And it appears that Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld had complete access to unlimited funds as they saw fit. Who were they bribing? Okay, this money, and Senator Henry Waxman, confirmed that money was flying in $1 billion a day on a C-130 transport. General Karpinski actually confronted them. What was this money coming into her area of operation for? Okay, where did it come from? Where was it going? And they told her, okay, they said, it's going to separate bank accounts in Cyprus. Okay, any suggestions, Tony Blair, where that money went? Tony Blair?
Right.
Okay, all right, and that's just to name a few, okay? So I look around now, and we've got people that are struggling, scared to death to go into any kind of Phoenix program relief, okay, like what's going on in the FEMA and the Walmart, okay, there in southeastern Texas, and we've got money like this disappearing, okay. I think we need to have a complete flush, okay, a complete flush. For AIPAC isn't a political branch in America, all right? Listen to me, AIPAC, and everybody should know this, AIPAC is not a political state, all right? AIPAC means American Israel Political Action Committee.
Right.
All right? Now, I really want to know who voted for this increased budget when they weren't even asking for that money and they still got it, okay? And we've got people being hurt, our own people being hurt. As I said years ago, we used to take care of the whole world. We helped Russia, we helped China, we fought 2 world wars, and on a whole lot less money than what is being spent now. Did you know that we completely rebuilt Germany at the end of World War II, and we rebuilt Japan, at the end of World War II, and into the powerhouses, the industrial powerhouses of the Western world, on $60 billion. Okay, $60 billion, and we still managed to destroy the Soviet Union, back them into a corner. Okay, so I'm sorry, and then we lose 3.2 trillion, and at the beginning of this election campaign between Trump and that lying, thieving, conniving Hillary Clinton, okay, who does need to be in prison, right? She needs to be in a FEMA camp, okay. 9.4 trillion went missing this time around. 9.4 trillion. Yes, we are out of control, and that's the reason why you're seeing the Phoenix program, Vietnam, absolutely reintroduced. Okay, it was reintroduced in Iraq under the form copper green, and it was allowed to flourish. Okay, that's what Dick Cheney did, folks. How do you spell treason, Luca? How do you spell it? Okay, I want everybody watching the show to send a note in saying how you spelled treason.
Greg, I found my notes. You wanted me to ask you about the Mukhabarak and how they told you about 9/11.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah, the Mukhabarat is one of the more effective counterintelligence networks, okay, operating in the world. And it was set up by Saddam Hussein, okay, but also it had consulting experts from the former workers' paradise of the Soviet Union. Okay, yes, Russia has some of the finest intelligence people on the planet, okay, along with Israel, okay, and I think everybody should see where I'm going with that. Russia, Israel, mob. Guess who sets up all these all these crime syndicates, okay, in Israel, retired Russian intelligence experts in counterintelligence and intelligence gathering. All right. Yes, Russian Israeli mob. Okay. That's who's running the country, by the way, and that's who's also running the world. All right. It's the Russian Israeli mob. Okay. Does that make it a little clearer for everybody listening? Well, the Mukhabarat, okay, was the intelligence service set up by Saddam Hussein, upgraded with the help of Russia and the Russians. And I happened to meet with the Mukhabarat on several occasions. Yes, we were acknowledged, enemies, no questions about it. But the thing is, hey, they knew what they were doing, and they knew my contacts, and I was straight up front with them. I wasn't trying to convince them I was some Saudi Arabian prince, not with his face, okay?
Nope.
And so it was straightforward. I asked them what was going on, and they told me. And the first thing they said was, are Americans as stupid as they have been behaving? Okay? That's why you guys are here, invading us for no reason whatsoever. We didn't do anything. And we don't even trust Saddam Hussein as much as you allow that your President Bush to get away with. So they said, okay, the big question mark here, and this was confirmed by the FBI later on, is they said, you people don't even know who attacked you on 9/11. You don't have any idea who attacked you on 9/11, all right? And what it amounted to was this. They said everybody that was that part of those 19 hijackers that were trained and also were trained by Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe me, call Boeing. Ask them, okay? Yes, they were trained in Arizona, okay? And what it amounted to was these were Baluchi from Baluchistan, okay? They were contract hitters, contract killers, contract terrorists for Saudi Arabia. And they have been for at least 30 years, at least. They do all the heavy lifting on a contract mercenary basis for Saudi Arabia, okay? They say, oh, well, gee, that doesn't sound right. The Saudis attacked us. 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. They weren't Saudis, okay? And like I said, I've asked our listeners before, excuse me, Saudi Arabia attacked us. Mm-hmm. And so what did we do? We attacked Iraq,
right,
for 10 years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Mukhabarat said, guess what? Okay, they're Baluchi. They're from Baluchistan, all right? And they knew who they were. They said, your problem is, folks, is your FBI is lying to you, all right? They had no idea who the hijackers were, the 19 hijackers. So what does that mean? That means that our government specifically lied to us. Robert Mueller, Mr. Integrity and Mr. Honesty, mm-hmm. okay, who my reports went to, by the way, he completely covered up those facts, and I made this report loud and clear to a committee at the FBI, all right? And then later on, my reports were sent to James Comey. Mr. Boy Scout himself, James Comey, okay? Gosh, he looks like a good Mormon boy, doesn't he? Okay? That's what I think. Every mother's son right there.
Well, Greg, you wonder why the Supreme Court doesn't want to touch your case. I mean, there's so many people implicated. It would come down like a house of cards. If
Well, we're going back into court. Okay, I'm refiling. Okay, yeah, that's it. Hey, we managed to get a case precedent set. Okay, a case precedent set. Yes, I am coming back into court, folks. I want everybody to know, just because a bunch of lamebos, like the U.S. Supreme Court of kangaroos, tells me, no, they don't want to be embarrassed and don't want to deal with a bunch of irate CIA types carrying on and whining and crying about not being able to make enough money, selling drugs, okay, to little school kids. Forget it, okay? We're going back in. We've got a case precedent set, and I am going to introduce some real interesting facts about 9/11. Who briefed me on 9/11 14 months before, and also that intelligence, okay, from the Mukhabarat, how they got a real horse laugh out of how stupid Americans are and allowed our government to get us into this nonstop, endless war, series of wars. Yes, the Mukhabarat knew that, and they have never. Most of them had never been to the United States, and they knew that, okay, about us, and they gave basically the identities and the nationalities of all 15. Well, hell, there were even more than 15 of the Balukis, okay, who hijacked those planes. Quote, hijacked those planes. Okay, wink, wink. Okay, and how they only wanted to take off and were not worried about landing. Remember that one? Okay, all right. So guess what? Baluchistan contract hitters of the Saudis. Okay, the Saudis paid for the attacks on us. They killed 3,000 Americans, and 24 hours later, George Bush is sitting on the front veranda of the White House, smoking cigars, and toasting to the success of 9/11. Okay, with Prince Bandar bin al Sultan. Okay, tell me, where is the attack from terrorists? Okay, well, I've got news for everybody. I got publishers for my book, and my book is going to be coming out in the not too distant future, and everybody's invited, and we will have excerpts to read from my book on the show. Okay,
good.
And I want to hear any idiot that wants to call in and challenge the fact of what I'm saying about 9/11, okay, not being a contract by the CIA with the Saudis and the Israelis doing the engineering on 9/11, all right? And then, after all this is said and done, we are going to start talking about something called copper green, okay? Copper green. Look it up, folks. Copper green, okay?
Well, Greg, I really want to thank you for being on the show and a part of the show. And to wrap it up, I want to take my last few words to say this, because I'm seeing it more and more, and it's very, very obvious with Matthew Short, who was helping the disaster relief victims from Harvey. There are two types of people, as I understand it. There are those people that are going to see FEMA, they're going to see the shiny badges, and they're going to go, oh, you're here to save us, wonderful, and they're going to jump in FEMA, okay? There's the other type of people that know who FEMA is, they know who CIA agent is, they know who FBI agent is, and they keep their gun on their hip, and they know better, and it's amazing. It's either left or right, and this is why our show exists, is to be able to be right down the middle and to show left and to show right. And it's amazing how much truth can come out when you know what you're talking about, and you've been there, Greg. So I'm going to give you the last words real quick.
Okay. Well, it's important to know. Everybody probably knows to saying, here this guy goes again on 9/11. Guess what brought us to this point, to where we have the Phoenix program not only being introduced, it's here.
Yeah.
The police are militarized. Didn't Donald Trump say that he's going to give the police used military equipment, automatic weapons? Why would he do that? Why would he do it? Okay. Because the Phoenix program of Vietnam, and I want everybody to go to your computer and look up the Phoenix program of Vietnam. All right. The Phoenix program became copper green. The copper green was the result of the same program being transferred to Central America. Nicaragua, El Salvador, all the death squads. Guess who was running those? Dick Cheney. Guess who's running Copper Green? Dick Cheney. Okay? Has anybody ever seen the slightest bit of benevolence out of Dick Cheney towards the American people? Okay, please, if you have, let me know. All right? And so what we have here is the Phoenix program. Yes, it is related to 9/11. That's how they were able to introduce a police state. We are in a police state right now, right this instant. All right? Yes, there's people in Texas that are shooting it out with the feds, quote, the feds, because that's what they're doing. They're attempting to stop the roundup and the taking of basic prisoners, okay, for the FEMA camps. The government's not going to build those camps and not put somebody into them. Gee, you better start thinking about who that is, folks. And guess what? These are perfect situations to round everybody up, look benevolent, get the troublemakers out, okay? You know, and that includes everybody who speaks out with the freedom of speech, okay? The basic rights, freedom of speech. You think they want people talking like us, okay, out there? What, you, Luca, and you ask our listeners if they think that we could speak like this on another network, a commercial network,
right,
owned by the 6 big networks. No, we could not, all right? So that's what's happening. Yes, the Phoenix program is here. They're giving our money away. They've got professional computer corporations now hunting people down to pay all those excess taxes, okay? Donald Trump said he was going to revamp the tax program. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, really? He said he was going to throw Hillary Clinton in prison. Oh, really? Okay. She doesn't look like she's wearing striped pajamas to me. All right. So, no, sorry, folks. We got a ringer. Okay. Donald Trump is a ringer. And do you think for a second that he won't, see that this program of Phoenix implemented into the United States? Guess what? It's Russian-Israeli mob dictating to the puppet Donald Trump what to do and how to do it. Okay, and everybody says, well, gee, Israel was a Western state. They believed in democracy. No, they didn't. When Israel first started up, they couldn't figure out what kind of government they were going to have. And the biggest thought that came to mind was, gee, it works so well with our type of state, our type of country, forming the Bolshevik Revolution. So let's try the same thing for Israel, okay? And it wasn't until some Western powers leaned on them that they got away from a communist country. They were going to be communists, okay? Don't believe me, all right? That's what they want for America. Russian-Israeli mob direction, okay? There is no more constitution, folks. I challenge anybody to show me where it's being enforced, okay? So there it is, right there. I want everybody to have a good evening, but please pay attention. Don't forget. Remember, they're assuming that Americans have the same attention span as a housefly, okay? That's not very long, folks.
No.
Okay? No. Thank that man in Texas for talking about what he has seen and what he has experienced, all right? And yes, militarized cops, that's what we have on the streets now, are the Phoenix program, all right? The Phoenix program, the old CIA program from Vietnam, which was absolutely ruthless. It was legendary in its bloodthirsty administration, and it is here. It is on U.S. soil right now. Thanks to these, the excuse of hurricanes, it is here. That's what I have to say for a closing statement.
Thank you so much, Greg. And with the engineered storms, we got 3 of them coming. So they think that Florida's next, and it is a civil war right now in Texas. So
okay.
We'll be talking more about that.
And by the way, let the one listener who called in about Next Era and Enbridge, let her know that, yes, I am researching and investigating. And I will have something to say next show about both of those.
Bunny's going to be so happy.
Thank you for ending on that note, Greg. Okay. Well, hey, by all means. Okay. So hey, everybody make sure they're tuned, okay, for our shows.
Yeah,
all right?
and we take everybody seriously. That's what this is all about. Thank you so much, Greg, and we'll, creator willing, we'll have another show. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Can't wait. Okay, Luca.
Bye.
Good night.